Go ahead and look at this problem. We have a worksheet called the percent proportion practice. And so as we look at this, we have just a reminder of our percents and proportions. So here we have a percent is always set up, a percent proportion or percent ratio is always set up as a part over a whole. And that's equal to the percent part over the percent whole. And a percent whole is always 100%. Some things to remember. You will always have a number out of 100, and that's why that's here. This will always be the percent. You can scale up, multiplying, or scale down, dividing. So if we have a smaller number like 5, we can scale up to 100, or a larger number like 250, we can scale down to 100. And we can divide between the ratios across or within the ratios. Some keywords to remember. If it says amount of discount, that's probably going to be a part. If it's got is, sometimes is can be a key word that means the part. For a whole, if it says original cost, that's probably a whole. It says, what's the discount cost? That would be a part. If it says of or out of, that's probably the whole. And then percent symbol is always going to be an indicator of the percent symbol. Let's go ahead and scroll down and start number 1. Number 1 says, Yana got 4 out of 5 questions right on her science quiz. What percent of the questions did she get correct? And so first, let's try and figure out, what am I trying to find? And it asks, what percent of the questions did she get correct? And so we're trying to find the percent. You didn't have to write that. You could have just put the percent symbol. And so let's set up our proportion. We have a fraction equals the fraction. We know always that I have 100% in the denominator of this fraction. And then it tells me we don't know the percent. We're trying to find it. So that's going to be my unknown. Then it says Yana got 4 out of 5. And so 4 is my part. That's how many she got. Out of 5 total is my whole. Let's go ahead and solve. We need to find a relationship between 4 and 5 or 5 and 100. Personally, I think 5 and 100 is easier because I know that I can take 100 divided by 5, and that's going to give me 20. Or you can do 5 times 20 gives me 100, but I'm going this direction. And so then I can think, okay, if we're going the other direction, this direction I divided by 20, so this direction I'm going to multiply times 20. And 4 times 20 is going to be equal to 80. Now, one thing that I taught you was that we can also use our calculator. And if we've got a box here, we can just go around in a circle. I can take 100, divide 5, and then multiply 4. 100, divide 5, times 4, and I get 80. This is great. I got 80. Or I can go the other way. I can do 4, divide 5, and that gives me a relationship between 4 and 5. 4, divide 5, and my relationship is 0.8 here. And then I do times 100, and that gives me 80. So if I multiply here, I go 4 divide 5, that gave me 0.8, and then I do 100 times 0.8, and that gave me 80. So it doesn't matter which way I do it. I always divide and then multiply, and I end up with the correct relationship. Let's look at question number 2. Tyreek likes a shirt that costs $32. If he can get a 25% off his purchase, what will his discount amount be? So what am I trying to find? We're looking for the discount. And so we saw up at the top, our keywords, a discount is usually going to be a part because it's not the whole price, it's just the discount on the price. So let's set up our ratio. We always start with 100% if it's a percent problem in the base of our ratio. He can get 25% off of his purchase. And so that's 25%. Then let's look. We know he likes a shirt and the whole cost is $32. So that's going to be my whole is $32. And so now I'm trying to find here the part. So let's go ahead and set it up. I could find a relationship between 32 and 100 or 25 and 100. Personally, I think this relationship is easier because 25 times 4 is equal to 100. So over here, we're going to do the opposite direction. Since we went down here, we're multiplying 4. On the opposite side, since we're going the opposite direction, we need to do the opposite operation. What's the opposite of multiplying? Yes, it's dividing. So we're going to divide by 4. Here we multiplied going down. Here we're dividing going up. If we're going the same direction, it'd be multiply, multiply, but it's opposite direction. So we're going 32 divided by 4, and we know our multiplication tables, that's $8. So I'm going to have $8 up here. And just a reminder, this was 80%. And again, I can use my calculator with my pattern. And I could have just done this pattern, right? So the pattern would have been, I start here and I'm going to go 25 divided by 100 times 32. 25 divide 100 times 32. And I end up with 8. Or I could have done my pattern here, 32 divide 100 times 25. 32 divide 100 times 25. And I end up with 8. And so that's my pattern. I'm just going around in a circle. I find the relationship between these numbers, and then I do the same thing backwards. So if this is a multiplication relationship, I do division the other way. Let's continue. Number 3 says Patrice shot 20 free throws. If she made 70% of her free throws, how many free throws did she make? And so it says how many free throws did she make? So let's go ahead and look at it. We're looking for free throws made. So not all of the ones she shot, just the ones she made. So that's a part. So already we know we're looking for the part right here. We know we have 100% always. And then we know that we have 70%. And then we also know that we have 20 total free throws made. Now let's look at our relationships. I see this relationship between 70 and 100 is going to be a decimal. That's not as easy. But there's a relationship between 20 and 100. 20 times 5 is equal to 100. Or you could say 100 divided by 5 is equal to 20. And so since we're going this direction to get here, if we're going the opposite direction, we're going to divide by 5. Because we're going different directions, we use different operations. So 20 times 100 is 100, times 5 is 100, so 70 divided by 5. Well, 5 goes into 7 2 times. There's a remainder of 2. Then 5 goes into 20 4 times. So this is 24 free throws. 24 free throws. Let's go ahead and think through, okay, what if we did this using our multiplication division pattern? If I did 70 divide by 100, 70 divided by 100, that would be equal to 0.7. So that's my relationship. And then I do times 0.7 up here. So that would be times 20. That's equal to 14. That ain't right. 70 divided by 100 times 20. 70 divided by 100 times 20. Equal to 14. Oh, I see what I did wrong. 5 goes into 7 only one time. So I actually did my math wrong initially. This should be 14. And so, this is why you check your work with calculus. Let's do it the other way. 20 divided by 100 times 7. 20 divided by 100. And that gives me 0.2. That's my relationship here of dividing. And now we're going to use the multiplication times 70. And we get 14. So both ways works. That's the last question I'm going to do. We'll do the rest in class.